What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys is my sort of state of the game video. This is just a let's talk about Pred. I've done these in the past. I used to do them fairly consistently, like pretty much like once every 2 or 3 months. I haven't done one in a while, but the conversation kind of got started by Joe yours truly, so I figured I would weigh in. Is sort of what I figured. So obviously, if you guys haven't been keeping up. JYT posted this video the other day, well, a week ago-ish. Yeah, 10 days ago. And I just wanted to weigh in on it. Basically, I won't be watching it. The link will be in the description. It's a good watch. I recommend it. It's like an hour long. I'm not going to be watching it right now. But I'm going to go over his points, and then I'll be kind of giving my points. So what's Joey's video about? Joey's video is kind of talking about his issues with Pred. Is basically what it is. What he doesn't like about the game and like kind of how he thinks it should be fixed and stuff like that. And so my video is going to be similar. I'm not going to really talk about the same points because I'll go over his video here in a sec, but I don't agree or care, I guess, about lots of his points. So I'll kind of be going over my own of just like what's wrong with the game. I have solutions for most of them, so I'll be offering my own solutions. Obviously, this is a discussion video, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments, questions, comments, concerns, just what you guys think, right? This is not, I don't want a doom post, right? That's not really what this is about. This is kind of just about, like, what can we do to make Pred a better game as a whole? That's obviously what I'm here for, right? As a content creator. Unfortunately, right, or fortunately, my success is kind of tied to Pred, so I want the game to be good, right? I wouldn't play it every day if I didn't enjoy it. I obviously play it every day, so, X equals Y. It is what it is. Going into this is JYT's video. So, again, he makes a bunch of points here. This is like an hour long. Go watch it yourself. His first 2 points are about, like, going from a MOBA to a third-person shooter and how the game direction is flawed. I somewhat agree with these. I don't like that the people call it a third-person shooter. I just don't think that's true. I think there's one exception to that, and we'll get into that later. But there is an exception. Other than that, I don't think the game's a shooter. It's still a MOBA. It's just faster paced. The issue arises with how they sped up the game, which is primarily with the 1.4 patch. They sped up the game. They reduced death timers. They made gold. They made you gain gold differently, and basically they did it incorrectly. There's a way to speed up the game properly and make it feel good, and they did not do it. So basically, the thought process is there's 2 MOBAs. There's 2 big other MOBAs that are comparable. Dota isn't really comparable, so I'm not counting that. We're not talking about Dota here. League of Legends and Smite. League of Legends, slow, more methodical. Smite, faster paced. Right, those are your 2 options. The average game time in those games is actually pretty similar. The difference being in League of Legends, a lot of the time you're ending a game at 30 minutes. You have 4 items online. In Smite, if you're ending a game at 30 minutes, you have 6 items online. That's the primary difference, is just the pace of the game is different, even though they are actually pretty similar game lengths. So we'll be talking more about League and Smite as we continue. The other points in Joey's video are the ones that I don't really agree with, like poor handling of game-breaking bugs. There are a bunch of bugs in the games that probably should be fixed by now. I just don't. They don't really bug me. I don't know if that's a bad thing, right? I just don't really care, to be honest. Like, should they be fixed? Yes. The game is technically full release. There probably shouldn't be things like Shimby Q bug still in the game, or Greystone being invisible still in the game, right? These probably should be things that are squashed by now. But realistically, it's kind of meh for me. Conflict of interest between casual and comp. This is just mostly talked about the game speeding up. I don't think that a faster game equals more casual. Not true, right? Smite is a very competitive game, even though it's faster paced. There are, again, correct and incorrect ways to speed up the game. They chose the incorrect ones. Disrespect the loyal player base. I just don't like this point. I don't think Omeda is disrespectful. I think there may be affluent to it. I think like what it feels like from Omeda is that if they have to toss away 100 players to get one like loyal player, that's what they'll do, which I don't think is necessarily uncommon in gaming, but it feels like when Omeda tosses away those 100 players, if those 100 players have 100 different reasons that they left, Omeda kind of says, yeah, but this one loyal player likes most of those things, so we're going to keep him. Is kind of what it feels like, even if those 100 concerns about the game are valid. That's kind of what it feels like to me. Again, whether or not that's true, I don't exactly know. right? But as a community member, that's how it feels to me. How we need to move forward with our feedback. This is a good point. Basically, Joey just is talking about like actually give feedback, right? Just because the game is bad, like don't go quiet. And again, I'm obviously not someone to really bite my tongue a whole lot, so yeah, you guys, again, if you guys have been around the channel for a while, you guys know that I will speak my mind. If I think something's bad, I'm going to call it out. You know what I mean? If something's good, I will also call it out. I do it with the gameplay. I do it with the game itself. So, yeah, this is Joey's video. Go watch it. Link will be in the description for you guys. Moving on to kind of my issues. So obviously, like the big issue at the moment is the pacing of the game. The pacing of the game is just whack. It's just really odd more than anything else. Though, just again, the way they chose to sped up the game is incorrect. With 1.4, they reduced death timers drastically early game, which just makes it really like at the peak of it, right when 1.4 came out, if you died level 1, but the enemy wave had more minions in it, if you like half HP'd the enemy laner, they couldn't push the wave fast enough, so you would respawn and get back to your lane, and you'd have a freeze. And it was good for you to die level 1. They've almost fixed that. Again, 1.5, I'm assuming, is going to increase death timers again. Hopefully it's completely fixed. There's some other issues like jump pads are like a big issue that contributes to this as well. So that just something to keep in mind. The map is a huge issue we'll get into later. But yeah, like things like death timers really screwed up the game. The way that they made you acquire gold, I think, is really odd. They decreased minion gold for the early game, but increased it late game. But they also increased the amount of gold share that you get. So if you don't last hit a minion, you get more percentage of the gold. They also increased gold drip. So like just being AFK in lane, even if you're not getting any last hits, you get more gold now than you did before. And if the enemy is last hitting, they're getting less gold than they did before, right before about level 8. So that just doesn't make sense to me. It's just, to be honest with you, I don't understand. Like if you want to make last hitting not matter so much, go the smite route, in my opinion, right? Give minion assists. If you want to make last hitting matter like League of Legends, like why do you have like 30%? Why do you get like 30% gold for not last hitting a minion? I don't know. Again, me personally, as far as pacing goes, I don't care if Pred decides to speed up their game and make it more like Smite, or slow down their game and make it more like League. I do not care. I just hope that they pick a lane and stick to it and then make the game good in the direction they choose. That's where I'm at. I don't care what direction they choose. I just want the game to be good in the direction they choose. So basically, it's like level 1, a minion wave gives you 93 gold if you get all the last hits. Level 4, it gives you 111. Fangtooth gives 100 gold. So if you like shove your wave, you crash it, you go to Fang, you drop it 1 full wave, but you get the Fangtooth, you're minus 11. Plus your team got a 5v4 on Fang. It's really worth it. It's just like the pacing in the game is really odd. You get a lot of gold for being AFK. That kind of thing is just, it's a little bit funky at the moment, the way you gain gold. Again, I think the solution to this, to be honest, with like especially the Fang argument, like Fang giving global gold to the team, personally, I'll be honest with you, I think Fang should give more global gold. I think 100 is really low. I think it should give like 150 at least to every person on your team. The offset to that, and I say that just because I think objectives should be very valuable. Fang obviously gives buffs, which are essentially worth gold, right? Like 30 seconds extra on your buffs is worth gold, essentially. But the point being, the objective should be valuable, in my opinion. The issue is that minions are not valuable. That is the underlying issue here. So just make minions worth more gold, right? For comparison, I pulled up Smite minions, just because I was mostly curious. If you're last hitting Smite minions, you're getting like 1.5x what you're getting from Pred minions, which is like a lot. That's a pretty big difference. If you're not last hitting Smite minions, you're getting about the same as you're getting from Pred minions. So it's just like the difference is kind of crazy, just in the comparison of how much gold you're able to get in both games. Again, I bring this up. I know a lot of you guys don't like Smite. Hold the horses. A lot of you don't like Smite. The reason I bring this up is because if they want the game to be faster, if they want to speed up the game, Smite is a game that sped up a MOBA and did it very well, right? Whether or not you want to agree with that, I don't really care. I think that's fairly objective. They have a faster paced MOBA and they did it correctly. So I just think minions should be more valuable. If you want to make objectives, give global gold. Otherwise, don't make them give global gold. Also a pretty easy fix, right? But minions just aren't worth enough at the moment, in my opinion. Is this the next thing? No, we're not there yet. So just finishing up on pacing. Again, I don't care what direction they take it in. They just have to do it correctly. The incorrect way was like objective spawning at 4 minutes and respawn timers being faster. The correct way, I think you could give more starting gold. I think you could buff crests to make like early game matchups more volatile. I think that would be good. Like if you play an early game hero right now who like really falls off at level 6, I just don't think it's really worth it. Like playing mid game heroes is really all you have to play right now. Late game heroes have a different issue, but that's again because of the pacing of the game. Jump pads are a huge issue with the game. You just get back to lane instantly. I think they're really wonky. I think they should just realistically be gone. A lot of people have said your jump pad should turn on when you take an enemy tier 2 tower. And the reason for that would be so that you can push your lead. Like if you take a tier 2 way before them, now you have jump pads, you get to push your lead a little more. That makes sense to me. I think that'd be fine. But realistically, I just think they should be turned off. The map's not big enough, in my opinion, to justify jump pads. Moving on. We have other issues. So this is going to be a list of a couple of other issues that I have. Again, this video is kind of like my issues with the game, what I do to fix them. The first issue I have, same issue I've had since day one of Predecessor, which is the hero kits are just bland. They are easy, is the main issue. A lot of them have very low skill ceilings. The skill floors are also low because of that. A character like Grux, like what are you really doing to maximize Grux that a person who's played him one time couldn't do? Not a whole lot. You know what I mean? And again, every time I bring this up, someone in the comment section is going to say something along the lines of, well, MOBA needs easy heroes to get new players into the game. Correct. You would be correct. And we have those easy heroes. The question becomes, where are the difficult heroes? Right? That counterpoint, where are the hard heroes? Right? The hardest hero in the game as of right now is Wraith. What is hard about Wraith? What would people say is difficult about Wraith? Aiming. Does that sound like what should be a pretty high skill ceiling? Right, so like again, for comparison, like League of Legends, a character like Zed is fairly hard. Now, why is Zed difficult to play? Well, you have 3 teleports in your kit, and you have, you have a mobility tool, but it's not really a runaway tool. It's mostly a go-in/juke tool, and your abilities are all basically melee. Like you have a ranged poke ability, but like, come on, you're using it to go in. Or a character like Lee Sin, who has Q1, Q2, W1, W2, E1, E2, and cool ult, right, where you can insect people. It's a cool kit. You don't pick that up the very first time you play Lee Sin and perform it perfectly. That's kind of what we're missing in Pred. Like again, the hard heroes in the game are aiming, which is just like, I think that's a really stupid skill ceiling to have. I just don't think that should be the skill ceiling. It's not like, yeah, again, the kits are very simple. They're not most of the heroes in the game you could first time and get pretty much max value out of, which I just think is wrong. Counterplay ability, this is another thing that's just along the same point. In League and Smite, if you are, half an item down on someone and you outplay them, you can win. In Pred, doesn't really happen. There's a few select heroes that can do this, like Kalari or Feng Mao, a couple of mages. You can outplay people and win. For the most part, if like, let's say I'm Grux and I have 3 items and you're playing Xeris and you have 2.5 items, what happens if I were to fight you? I just win, right? I stat check you. You simply cannot kill me. I simply win. My character just has more stats. I have more healing, and I just walk at you and click buttons. GG. If I'm playing a carry and you're playing a carry, it doesn't matter which one, which is a point we'll get into. If I have 3 items and you have 2 items or 2.5 items, I win. I just win, right? I outdamage you and I win. You don't have a tool to outplay me, right? It's just not something that really exists in the game. In Smite, there's a lot of outplay potential. In League, there's some, you get stat checked a little more in League than you do in Smite, but it's not the same. It's not like your character a lot of the time in League, right? If you're playing like a carry versus a carry, like a Caitlyn, right, has a really long range. You can outplay people by spacing them properly, right? That's a tool that you have at your disposal that you can use to show that you are better than someone. And in Pred, it just doesn't always feel like the best player wins. Like the better player can lose if they're behind by half an item, right? And that just feels a little wonky to me. In Smite, it generally speaking feels like the better player wins. In League, from what I can tell, again, I'm not a huge League guy. I've played a lot of League over about the last month, but it generally feels like the better player wins. And I think that is correct. The better player should win. Moving on. So lack of change is my next point, or willingness to change. They just seem really resistant to making like specifically items that deviate from their league counterparts, which is a big point that we'll get into here shortly. They items Megacosm Sky Splitter are the primary two items I'm talking about, and the list goes on, but these are the two items I'm talking about. They have exact league counterparts. Megacosm is a broken item. Always has been, always will be, until they change the passive. The passive is what's broken, and they refuse to touch the passive. They continually take 5 power off the item instead of nerfing the passive or realistically changing the passive, because it just doesn't really work in this game. Just too good. If you were to make Megacosm into Soul Reaver from Smite, it would work significantly better. It would be a much more balanceable item. The difference between Soul Reaver and Megacosm, so Soul Reaver does... it does do true damage in Smite. It wouldn't have to do true damage in Pred, in my opinion. But it does max HP true damage. It's like 4% per ability. But if you hit the same target with multiple abilities in like a 3-second window, or like every time you hit someone, if you hit them again in the next 3 seconds, they take half damage from it. So it's just like that first proc is going to kind of chunk, but then it's going to kind of stop doing damage for the rest of the fight, right? And that's fine. It's good HP damage. Most mages, burst mages, aren't supposed to be able to kill tanks. That's not their job, right? That's just how the game goes, right? So it's like, if you were to do that, it kind of just instantly fixes the item. And they seem really resistant to that. I don't know why, but they seem really resistant. Same with Sky Splitter. Sky Splitter is Blade of the Ruined King from League of Legends. Basically 1-to-1. It's an issue because it has broken-ass base stats on it. Why does it have attack speed, power, and lifesteal? Who knows? But again, I'm going to bring up Smite again. Kin Size is an item from Smite. It's basically Sky Splitter. Never been an issue. Lifesteal, it doesn't have lifesteal on it. It's really good against tanks. It's really bad against squishy characters. It's not so good against objectives. In Smite, items don't generally proc their bonus damage on objectives. So like something like Kin Size does not hit Gold Fury. It only hits players, which makes sense to me. Why does Sky Splitter just add damage to your autos on Fangtooth? Who knows? It's the best objective DPS item in the game. I don't know, man. It's just like they refuse to actually change the items. They just continue to take 1% lifesteal off Sky Splitter every patch and 5 power off Megacosm, and then call them balanced, even though they're not. Next point. The carry dilemma. This is what I was alluding to talking about Joey's video. There is one third-person shooter role in the game, and it is carry. Carry is a role that, simply put, does not work in Predecessor. Just doesn't. It just does not work. Realistically, in my opinion, this role needs just a complete overhaul. Like, you probably have to change the heroes. You need to change the way the autos work. You have to change the items. The whole role kind of just needs to start from scratch, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like it fits because the carry player is playing a shooter game and everyone else is playing a MOBA. What I mean by that is, as a carry, all the carries are the same, right? Revenant, outlier. Revenant doesn't count. Revenant is the one carry who is unique. All the rest of them are the same. They all shoot fast. They all shoot hard. That is it, right? In League, you have characters like, again, like and I'm bringing up League characters that I've played, right? That's my comparison. So a character like Caitlyn is a long-range, slow-shooting crit carry, right? You build crit, you have long range, you shoot them from far away, and you space out and you run away, basically, is the goal of Caitlyn. On the flip side, you have a character like Ashe. Ashe is much shorter range, she has much faster attack speed, and she can't crit. Her crits actually slow enemies. She has 2 slows in her kit, and so your goal is to... You kind of play this closer range, you attack really fast, but you slow them so you can kite them really well. You know, you shoot, run away, shoot, run away, shoot, run away. They can't catch you because they're slowed the whole time. What do I mean by this? They're two carries in League of Legends. They play the same role. They do wildly different things. The way they play is wildly different. In Pred, if I were to ask, how do you play Murdoch versus how do you play Drongo? There's no differentiation. There's not a difference there. They're the same character, right? There's a lot of top players, a lot of top ADC players will call it flavors of left click, because essentially all the carries are the same. They all shoot fast, and when all the carries' base attack speed is fast, you just buy one attack speed item called Sky Splitter, and you only buy it because it's broken as hell, and then you buy 5 crit items, and that's your build. And you buy the same thing on all the carries, right? Kira, Drongo, Murdoch, Sparrow. they are all built the same way, even though like a character like Sparrow, you would think you want to build her differently, but realistically, you can't because the other items are terrible. And so you have to build the same 6 items on every carry, and they play the exact same. They all do the same damage, right? The reason why is Murdoch the best carry in the game? Because his auto attack scaling is higher, right? That's the only reason. He does more damage than the other carries. That is the reason Murdoch is the best carry in the game. Auto attack scaling is just his autos simply do more damage. That's why. They all play the exact same. If you look at League, right, again, like a character like Murdoch, base attack speed, 120. The kind of the closest character to Murdoch in League is Caitlyn, and her base attack speed is almost 0.7. It's under 0.7 attacks per second. Like, is that not just a wild difference to you? And why? The question is why, and I can tell you why. The why is it feels bad to shoot slow in Pred. Why does it feel bad to shoot slow in Pred? Because you're playing a shooter game. That is why it feels bad to shoot slow, is because the carry role is playing a shooter game, and in shooters, it feels bad to shoot really slowly. You'd have to be doing crazy amounts of damage per shot to make it feel good, which is what Revenant is. And Revenant right now, in my opinion, I think Revenant's autos feel terrible because he shoots so slow. So I agree with it. But again, it's a bigger issue here. The whole carry role is wrong. You can't have slow attacking carries, which means everyone has to attack fast, which means everyone's the same character, which leads into a whole thing. The other issue, like specifically right now, is lifesteal. Lifesteal on carries is really broken. They just broke the stat. I don't know why they changed it. It did not need changed. They made lifesteal apply to on hits. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure it does not do that in League or Smite. It definitely doesn't do it in Smite. I don't think it does it in League. That one was just a big question mark for me. The other big question about carry is the design space. How do you make, at this point in Predecessor, how do you make a new carry? How do you make a new carry in the game that's not the same? Right? Riddle me this, Batman. How do you make a new carry in Pred that isn't the same as one of the current carries? How do you make a new flavor of left click before you run out of flavors? I don't think you really can. Good luck, Omeda, to make another carry. I'm really curious what you come up with. Moving on to my last couple issues here. These are like the bigger overall issues for the game. Again, the carry issue is probably one of the bigger issues in the game. Again, I truly think you just have to just fucking demolish it and go ground up on the carry issue. I think it's like almost unsavable as is. Moving on though, map. Map. The map is really bad. It is the League of Legends map, which is the next point that we'll get into. But League of Legends is a curse upon Predecessor. The devs seem to think that League of Legends is, or that Pred is League of Legends. It is not. The games are not similar. They don't play similar, especially after a lot of the early game changes. They definitely don't play similar. The League of Legends map is the Pred map. They're almost 1-to-1, except for the bad parts of the League of Legends map, which are the good parts of the League of Legends map, which are not 1-to-1 in Pred, which makes them bad. It's a whole thing. The map, it's too small. The layout's wrong. The jump pads are a big issue. Fog walls are terrible. Fog of War is simply the better way to do vision in a MOBA. League of Legends uses Fog of War. Smite uses Fog of War. And Pred, for some reason, uses fog walls. No idea why. I truly cannot comprehend why we have fog walls rather than Fog of War. The devs seem really resistant to it. This is a point that I bring up even in this map video. This map video was made November 2023, by the way. So, again, basically everything I said in this video still holds, in my opinion. As far as that goes, the map, the pits are really bad. So the reason the pits are bad is because they're the League of Legends pits. But why they're bad in this game and not in League is because, again, the games are not similar really realistically. In League, the walls are very soft. A lot of people can go over them. You can flash over them. You can use almost every ability in the game goes over walls. You can auto attack over walls in League. And in Pred, walls are very hard. So if you're a carry and you're not in the pit, you can't really do damage in a team fight that's taking place in the pit. And in Pred or in League of Legends, you can. A lot of carries can auto over those walls. You don't have to full commit to walking around to the front of the pit to do damage. In Pred, you have to walk through one of two choke points that are at both pits, right? That's choke points on both sides. You have to walk through one of those chokes to get into the pit to be able to start doing damage. Feels really bad. It's just that the layout of the pits specifically is simply incorrect. It just does not work in this game, and it has never worked in this game. So the other issue is like just the jungle layout. The minions, the jungle camps are too close to lanes, so you get to gank too freely. You don't lose anything by going for a gank. Like in Pred, if I'm Dusk side and I start blue and I clear my 3 and I try to gank off lane for the cringe gank level 2, I don't commit to that. It takes me 3 seconds to walk to the lane and throw an ability or jump in and do some damage, and maybe I get a flash, maybe I get a kill, and then I walk away, and it took 10 seconds max, right? In League, same thing. If I clear my blue buff, and then I clear my Gromp, and then I would try to walk to top lane and cringe gank top lane, it takes me 15 seconds to walk from my Gromp to top, and then if that gank doesn't work, I'm now like 45 seconds behind on my jungle clear, which is a real risk versus reward, right? In Pred, there's no risk. It's just reward if it happens, right? It's the map is a huge issue. Hopefully we get a new one sooner than later. I pray. The other issue with that is that Omeda has recently, I don't know how recently, a month ago maybe, fired their map designer. So I don't know if that means that we're getting a new map soon or if we're never getting a new one. Their map designer that was working at Pred since the beginning doesn't work there anymore. So just throwing that out there. Don't know what that means. Read into that as much as you'd like. So the next point that I have is League of Legends. I think League of Legends is just a total curse on Pred. I think it's just I think it's a total curse. I think, again, I don't think that Pred should be League of Legends. I don't think that Pred should be Smite, right? I'm not in here as a Smite player saying, League of Legends bad, make it like Smite. That's not the point. The point is that Pred is not similar to League. It is, to be fair, more similar to Smite, but I don't think a lot of Smite things would work in Pred, right? Again, walls are very hard in Pred. They're much softer in Smite than they are in Pred. It still doesn't work if you make it Smite. It just definitely doesn't work if you make it League of Legends, right? So this is a big thing here. This is a tweet from Ace. Ace is the CEO of Predecessor. He was a content creator for Paragon. He is talking about the new League of Legends game mode. There's a new League of Legends game mode called Brawl. It is basically 1-to-1 Brawl from Predecessor. Is it tacky that they kept the name the same? Yes, it is. It's very tacky. Do we care that League stole Brawl? Well, the question becomes, did they steal Brawl? Or did they steal Smite Arena? Now, what's Smite Arena, you might ask? Smite Arena is Predecessor Brawl, except it was made 10 years ago. Just for clarity, Predecessor's Brawl mode is almost 1-to-1 Smite Arena mode. Basically the exact same thing. Very, very few differences. Almost 1-to-1. Smite Arena was made 10 years ago. Now League of Legends is making their own Smite Arena mode. Again, really tacky that they kept the name, but Ace is talking about like, League of Legends is stealing from Predecessor. Like, let's just take a look at what Predecessor has taken from League of Legends. Power, haste, attack speed, does magic damage on hit. Does that look familiar to anybody? That might be very similar to a Predecessor item. Armor, HP. When struck by a basic attack, deal magic damage based on your physical armor back to the attacker and anti-heal them. Does that sound familiar to a Predecessor item, perhaps? AD, penetration, crit. If you would deal damage that would leave someone below 5% max HP, execute them. Does that sound familiar to a Predecessor item, perhaps? That's just Wraith Leggings. That's just Azure Core. That's just Elefrost. That's just Gaia Greaves. That's just Terminus. That's just Sky Splitter. That's just Fire Blossom. I could continue. There's more. The point being, don't throw rocks when you live in a glass house, right? That's what the point of this is. This is throwing rocks. This is throwing rocks. This is the glass house, right? The Pret devs have taken everything from League of Legends. They have taken everything. They've taken hero kits. They've taken basically every item in the game is 1-to-1 from League of Legends. They've taken just the map is 1-to-1 from League of Legends, right? They've taken everything from League of Legends, and I think this tweet bugged me a lot because of that. Again, it is throwing stones while you live in a glass house. Stones meet glass house. I think it's really odd. Again, I could go more into the league comparisons. There's a lot of characters in Predecessor with suspiciously familiar base stats to their League of Legends like counterparts, right? The similar character in League, and they have the same base stats. There's a lot of abilities in League of Legends who have suspiciously familiar base damages to the ability comparisons in Predecessor. It's to the point where there's no way that they came up with this without opening League of Legends wiki and copy pasting, right? Like straight up, there has to be someone behind the scenes opening League of Legends wiki, looking at the base stats on X champion and putting them on Y champion and Predecessor because they're similar. That's the only explanation. Come up with something original. You know what I mean? And then my last point here is, to sum up the league debate, I would like Predecessor to come up with their own shit. Truthfully, that's really all I'm asking for. I don't want the game to be Smite. I don't want the game to be League of Legends. I want the game to be Predecessor. Please come up with something original. I'm fucking begging you. Last point is Omeda. I just think Omeda feels a little disconnected at times. This is similar to Joey's point about disrespecting loyal player base. It's similar. I don't think, again, disrespect's not the word I would use. I think they're like more affluent. I don't know if someone is yanking Omeda's strings behind the scenes saying, dance monkey dance. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what's going on. It just feels like a lot of the changes that are made in Pred are made by people who don't know enough about the game to make those changes properly, or they're made by people who aren't they aren't good enough at the game to make those changes properly. Because again, so I talk to a lot of competitive Pred players, right? Just throughout my day, I talk to a lot of them. All of them are talking about how bad a lot of these changes are. Again, a lot of this stuff could be proofread. I could read a lot of these changes on patch notes and tell you that they are bad, right? Just straight up. I could tell you that by reading the patch notes. I don't have to play test it. I could read the patch notes and tell you that. All the other comp players could do the same thing. The fact that these are making it into the game is what's baffling to me. I don't know if that's a tester thing or if they just don't care about what the testers say. Maybe some of the testers are saying, hey, this is bad. And they say, no, our statistics show that this is a good change. Or the investors say this is a change we should make because XYZ game is doing, this thing and we want that in our game, right? Those are all options. I don't know what they are. Again, your guys' thoughts in the comments, please. But this tweet is one of those that just, I just don't think it feels disconnected to the community. Data shows the game's more sticky than ever. This was like 2 weeks after 1.4 came out. I just don't know how this is true. I truly just don't understand this metric. If the metric is games played, I think this is probably true because the games are shorter. So if you have an hour to play, now you play 3 games instead of playing 2 games like you did before. So that in that case, the metric probably is true. If I were to pull up my Twitch stats at the moment, or Soul Reaper's Twitch stats, for those of you who want to suck soul, that's fine. That's fine. Both of our stats, we have the exact same graph on average viewers, and they are both going significantly down at the moment. Not a coincidence. People, generally speaking, don't just stop watching a game and continue playing. Generally speaking, when everybody's stats go down on a platform, it means the game is going down as well. I just don't see how this is true. If it is true, my bad. I don't see it. It feels disconnected. It feels disingenuous. It feels like not a red herring necessarily, but like a, hey, look at me kind of thing. So I don't know. This tweet bugged me as well. But yeah, that's kind of all I've got for you. That's kind of my last point is just Omeda. It feels like they should enlist help from the community to make better changes, honestly, is kind of what it feels like. I don't know if they need more testers or if they should run like public test servers or something like that to just get a look at these changes beforehand. Or if it's just listen to the pro players, or the pro players, the comp players, just, I don't know, let them test a patch and let them tell you what's broken. Because there's shit that I could read without playing and tell you that it's OP. Makes it in the game anyway. Anyway, yeah, hopefully this didn't get too drony. This is actually like the 4th time I've recorded this video in the last week. The other ones, they just didn't come out concise isn't the right word. They didn't come out properly. I didn't like the way that they came out. I think this one was much better. Again, it's longer than I wanted it to be honest with you. But it's not necessarily just getting it off my chest. It's just things that I think are wrong with the game. And obviously, I don't want to be doom posting. I think the game is fun to play. I don't think it's fun to play competitively at the moment. I think it's fun to play casually. But I want the game to be good, man. I want to get to the point in Pred where we can have big tournaments, right? Like that's my goal. I would love to play in big tournaments, stuff like that, right? And that's the game as is doesn't really push that like up. Like it doesn't seem like that's feasible at the moment. And I would like the game to be as good as possible. So, and a way to do that is, again, this is kind of starting the discussion. Hopefully you guys partake in the discussion. Again, whether or not I said stuff way off base, like let me know, right? Thousands of people are going to watch this, right? Keep me in check, right? If I'm totally off base, just let me know, man. It is what it is. If I'm wrong, dude, I'll take it on the chin. It is like, I'm not right about 100% of things, right? I think a lot of things in this video I am correct about, but if everyone says I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got for you. So let me know what your guys' thoughts. Again, the goal is to make Pred a better game, and feedback is a way to do that. And obviously I kind of have a platform, so my feedback gets more ears. Hopefully Omeda watches. I'd be curious to see what they think. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. But that's all I've got for you. So as always, I've been Pinzo. This video is donezo. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.